We're here with another episode of Ask the Experts, and we have a fantastic expert with us today. It's the race director for the Columbus Marathon. Darris, thanks for being here.
Thank you for the compliment. I was worried what expert was going to be here. I guess it's me, so yes.
Well, I didn't say what you're an expert in.
That's true.
Nevertheless, you're here, so thanks for being here. We're going to talk actually about the Columbus Marathon. It's coming up here in just about 2 weeks. Columbus is a premier event. We're excited to have our participants running in it. And I know you've got a whole lot of work, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to talk to us.
Yeah.
What is your favorite aspect of the Columbus Marathon?
You know, from the race director standpoint, it's the logistical side of things. These 2 weeks heading in are pretty crazy in regards to, you know, my phone's ringing, trucking companies are dropping this off, and trucking companies are dropping that off, and these people, you know, we have this meeting, the police, all these things coming together. It's just a culmination of so much. It's really 13 or 14 months that goes into a 12-month event, and I really like that part. But as far as the running and the racing or the walking of the marathon, it's just how it's really part of the fabric of Columbus. You know, we as a community don't have mountains, we don't have beaches, so when it comes to an event like this, the community really, if the community's behind it, they're really going to get behind it and support it, because it's just become that much more important to them, and so it's really neat to be part of something that is in the fabric of the community.
Yeah. You mentioned a little bit, or you kind of started going down this road. What, as the race director, what's the most challenging aspect of putting the event on?
Yeah, I think that it is that fact that at 7:30 in the morning on race day, it started. I mean, knock on wood, there'd be something that would cause us not to begin the race, but we can't. I'll stand there at 6 o'clock and see everybody arriving and think to myself, well, I guess we can't make them go home now. I guess. So that's just such a challenge to know that all these weeks and months of work by 25 people on the team, 11 board members, 3,000 volunteers, all the runners and walkers coming together at one point of time is just pretty mind-boggling. I don't think too much about it, or else I'll really get freaked out, because it's that specific of a moment in time.
So 7:30 comes around, Thunderstruck plays, the fireworks go off. At what point do you start to let your guard down?
You know, that is a pretty big moment when I know the race has started and they've all started leaving. It's out of our hands now. We're not going to get them to come back.
Yeah.
They're not going to stop. And, you know, I don't let my guard down on the safety and security and things like that. That really doesn't happen until I know every single athlete has gone home safely. And that includes those, you know, knock on wood, but we've had people who've had to go to the hospital afterwards. I've visited some of those folks before, and until I know everything is good in that way, I really don't stop worrying. The cleanup itself goes on until Tuesday or Wednesday of the race. I'm driving around picking up trash, but then we have all the vendors who are leaving, the big tents and that. So it's really probably by Tuesday or Wednesday that
Sure.
I'm finally able to say, all right, we're done.
Yeah. There's no doubt countless moments that happen in every race. What's kind of the most rewarding thing that you get out of being the director of the marathon?
You know, as a runner, and having done this event and many other events, the rewarding part to me is seeing those people who have achieved, and many times, a lifetime goal. I mean, marathon or half marathon for some people is their Mount Everest. And when they achieve that goal that they set out to do, and they believe in themselves, that is a pretty overwhelming moment to know that somebody's changed their life, and we've had a small part of it. So that's extremely rewarding. This event has a lot of rewards to it. I mean, now that we partner with Children's Hospital and we're helping all those kids, that's the level of
Sure.
reward. Knowing what we do for the community as a whole, and helping just put Columbus on the map every year is rewarding. But I think the single moment is when I see those people, that many of whom I know and didn't have that belief in themselves when they started out, and you know from the training program and from the work that you do, that someone who doesn't believe in themselves, and when they kind of emerge like a butterfly, it's
Yeah.
it's a pretty big deal.
Indeed. Is there Is there any? And you'll have to excuse me. How many years have you been the race director?
This is my 10th race.
10th year.
Yeah,
That's
10th year. Yeah.
good year to be your 10th
Yeah.
year. Is there any one moment that sticks out of those 10 years as kind of just the coolest moment or the just most memorable moment for you?
You know, it is still got to be the start line every year, because when those fireworks go off, and
Yeah.
it's just it's pretty overwhelming to know that I had a part in this event, and it all came together. I think it's really, that's sort of those fireworks are kind of my emotional let
Yeah.
off of like, oh, what a relief what we
Of
did.
course.
And that every year, I just the fact that we have that is, and they were added as a fluke. We never fireworks were because they used to do a flyover.
Yep.
The Air National Guard or military would do a flyover. But when the start got changed from 8 a.m. to 7:30, it went before sunrise,
Yeah.
and they can't fly before sunrise. So we figured, well, let's do fireworks. And there you go. So
Right
a little
on.
history there.
Well, let's start to dive in a little bit about race day logistics and what folks can expect. So we've talked about the fireworks,
Yep.
but let's talk a little bit about the start line, corrals, gear check, what folks can expect.
Yeah. Well, the one thing is, this is a big city,
Yep.
big city event,
Yep.
and you can't just treat it like any other time you might be going downtown on a regular day. You have to think about it like a Buckeye game, hockey game combined. Traffic is going to be crazy, and everybody's going to the same place. So you got to be prepared to,
Yeah.
first of all, leave early. We tell people, however long it takes you normally to get downtown, double that. So the corral's open at 6, but you know, if you live up in Dublin or you live up in Westerville or really on the outer belt at all, leave your house at 5:15. Why add the pressure to yourself? Get downtown, get your car parked, stay in your car if it's cool, or get out and go to the start area, because we have hundreds of restrooms in the corrals, and you should have your throwaway clothing and all that. So that's the first tip, is just arrive early. But when you get there, everything is clearly marked. We have gear check, which is a giant building of a tent that you drop off your stuff, and then you head into the starting area, which is athlete only, well marked, and there's, like I said, plenty of restrooms, places to sit down, relax, but take that stress off yourself. Get in there so you're not worried. But then everything is really well marked. We've got volunteers directing traffic. Whether you're in corral A or E, you follow the signs. Everything is because you've got enough stress. People they lose about 15 to 20 IQ points on race day, but that's okay. Look for the signs or follow the crowd, and you'll get to where you're going. And then just kind of relax and get in the moment. That time flies. Before a race, I swear, an hour is like 5 minutes in terms of the way it feels.
Yeah.
So be prepared to get caught up in the excitement. It's your first time. Take it all in and enjoy the moment. You may or may not be back, but know that you've got yourself there and you're part of this thing.
Awesome. You have pacers on the
Correct.
course.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was very proud that in 1999, so 20 years ago, I actually started the pace teams at the Columbus Marathon, the Striding Sliders presented by White Castle. And for the 40th anniversary, we brought them back. So the Striding Sliders
Oh,
pace
that's awesome.
team are going to be there. And we've got times from all the Boston qualifying times. So for 3 hours up to the sliders go up to 5.5 hours. But then we also work with the New Albany Walking Club, and they have walking pace groups all the way to 6.5 hours. One thing that is new this year is we extended the course limit to 6.5 hours. I'm hoping we're going to keep it there. And then the half marathon is a 4-hour limit, and the pacers are helping both groups because the marathon and half marathon run the first 12.5 together.
Yep. So just mentioned the course. So we've got a half marathon course and a full marathon course, and we've got some amazing neighborhoods they go through. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, we're so fortunate. Downtown Columbus and the State House and the State Capitol, everything is clean and nice and new. But then as soon as you get through the first couple miles, you get to one of the most beautiful sections of town called Bexley. It is actually a city, but it's so close to downtown. It's practically part of downtown. Beautiful homes, just the crowd turns out. The mayor of Bexley is out flipping pancakes
Yep.
at mile 4, and people just love us going through there. But those who don't love us don't know we're there because they're still asleep. So that's always kind of nice. Then when you come out of Bexley, you basically on your way to Bexley, you go out Broad Street, which is a really nice wide street. But then when you leave there, you basically come back the other side of it. So I love that section of the course because you get to see the elites and some of the other runners heading in either direction.
Yep.
That's a super exciting area. Then you come through a section of town, an older part of downtown called Old Town East. A lot of bigger, older homes, but that leads you to Nationwide Children's Hospital, and that's a super motivating section of the course. They've got a big party and music and activities going on. If you take a look over your right shoulder, you can actually see the hospital, and sometimes you can see some of the kids waving, and that's a pretty motivating, emotional section. And then that takes you right into German Village, another great section of town. German Village was known as the single largest private development urban renewal project in the country. And it's all private dollars that have turned those homes, just beautiful section, neat little brick homes in that. And Schiller Park, beautiful park here in Columbus. Crowds are big through there. And then it just takes you basically over to High Street, which is kind of the heart of town. And then you've gone through German Village, mile 10, which is it's our alumni mile, which where the kids from the hospital that we've honored in previous years all come back. We've got almost 200 RSVPs in that church zone, and the families and kids are coming back. And then that leads you to the Angel Mile, which is mile 11, which is a mile that we honor the kids that have passed away. The families want to be part of that, so if they've lost a child, they come and honor them. It's a pretty solemn mile, but it's not supposed to be sad. The families are there celebrating,
Yeah.
so join in that and say hello to those families. And then, while a lot of people are crying in that section, it's also a place to start getting happy because mile 12 to finish the half marathon is almost all downhill.
Yeah.
That should be your best mile if you're running this thing. And if you're doing the half marathon and you get down to Long Street at High, 12.5, you turn left and you're done. The marathon then continues on its way, and that's when we get into the second half of the course. And we've made some adjustments this year to really add some excitement. It's tough because 2/3 of the people turn.
Sure.
But the marathon is critical, and it's not the most important part of our event, but it's our most historic. 40 years, and so we really want to celebrate
Yep.
that. So we've added some food stations out on the course. We've got a new electronic billboard at mile 16. So when people at the expo, they can tape record, or family or friend can tape record a short message.
Huh.
When they cross a timing mat,
No
it'll
kidding.
pop up.
That's awesome.
And then later on in the course at mile 20, also partnering with White Castle, the wall is kind of a significant part of the marathon, the mythical wall
Yep.
where it gets kind of scary. Well, we've created the Storm the Castle wall. It's going to look like a giant castle. And then we've got some live action role playing folks in medieval costume that are going to be there gesturing and heckling and cheering people on to get through the wall. And then from there, you head into, well, that actually happens in Upper Arlington.
Yeah.
Beautiful part of the course. The mile 16 board is at Ohio State University campus, another great section to run through. And then you get to Grandview Heights in the low 20s, 21, 22, 23. Neat town, neat part of town, and some great sections of downhill through there. And then you're just coming back through Victorian Village into Columbus and to the finish.
So about that finish.
Yeah, it's the finish itself is a little bit of a challenge because you do have the downhill until about the last 500 yards. Got a little bit of a rise before it flattens out, but we've made it exciting. We've got the music that stretches down through that whole section. The crowds are really building up through downtown. You come in, there's a big electronic board, you can see yourself, but you just want to aim to get that thing done. And then from there, you've got all the things you find in any big city race. You've got your medal and your food and your blanket and your water. And you head into Celebration Village where you've got the big gongs to hit if you've set a PR, and or just hit it anyway to celebrate your achievement. And then we've got exhibitors and
Sure.
your family, just all the things that you would expect.
Well, you've run countless marathons in addition to the 10 years as the director of the Columbus Marathon. Let's talk just a little bit about race strategy. Anything specific to your course that participants should be cognizant of, whether it's pinch points, sharp turns, some hills to take advantage of, or be wary of?
So the half marathon course, the first 13, it's hard because you can go pretty fast and get ahead of yourself. I'll talk about the marathoners in a second, but the half marathoners, you really just want to stay steady and enjoy this. If I were racing this, I would just keep my powder dry until mile 8. I would get through that first section, get the excitement of Bexley, the turns and things like that through Bexley. Once I got up mile 7, back coming up Broad Street, I would now start to strategize on how I'm going to race this thing. Going past the hospital, I take that energy, but I also know I've got flat to downhill for the next 4 miles, except for one little rise on High Street as you start to come back into downtown. But that's where I would really get my strategy. As far as turns and things like that, yeah, it gets a little narrow through some of those sections, particularly mile 8. It's a narrow street through Old Town East, but I would just keep myself under control because once I get past the hospital, it's going to really open up. But again, I would just know that I'm not going to really get ahead of myself or really try to start pushing it until I got through there. Stay steady through there. Running the marathon, however, I would be careful to not get ahead of myself in that first half. Just keep my pace and my goal times in check. Because once I get through that second half, or into that second half, Ohio State's got some nice sections. That turn, mile 16, where we do have that electronic billboard, is a turnaround. It's an out and back. You just got to kind of respect that a little bit. But once I get past that, heading down past Ohio Stadium is nice and flat and downhill. A little bit of a climb as I come up, leave campus. I come up Lane Avenue. If we went out right now and ran it, we would say, what hill? But at mile 18 of a marathon, it's going to feel like you're climbing a hill.
I hear there's going to be some unicorns about the top of that
unicorns hill. Through there, yeah. I heard that Fleet Feet front runners got a little bit of excitement planned there. But from a strategy standpoint, once I get past 18 and heading into Upper Arlington, that's where I'm going to start running because that last 10K of the race should be your best 10K because it's flat through Arlington and downhill a little bit down King Avenue. Flat to downhill through Grandview Heights. Mile 22 should be 21 to 22 should be your best mile because it's that downhill down First Avenue is a great section. Then I'm going to just conserve through 23, 24. Where you're going to get a little bit of roll, and then once you come up past Goodale Park, which is right at mile 25. But from there, I'm going to be downhill almost a mile. Once I pass 25, I'm going to come down and down and down. And again, that should be another fast mile. Plus, you're excited. You can really, really smell the hay in the barn.
Awesome. What about your aid stations? How many you got on course?
Yeah, we've got 17 fluid stations. They have Gatorade first, Gatorade Endurance, then water. You really are not going to go thirsty. Provided the weather over the next 2 weeks holds steady and we start to get some break in the temperatures and continue to become fall-like. You shouldn't have any issues. If it turns out we're going to have some heat and that, we'll add some fluid stations and things like that, additional water. Then we have 2 gel stops, one at mile 8 and again at just after mile 15. We've also added, as I said earlier, we've added some food to the mile 19, 20, and 21 aid stations. We have some cookies and some candy and some salty snacks in case people want that. But like anything, if you want something, carry it. If there's some certain food you want, make sure you've got it yourself. But the volunteers are great. They're well-stocked, well-staffed, and really they do a good job of keeping people motivated and looking after them.
How many volunteers will you have on the course?
So we have a total of 3,000, most who are on the course. I think probably between Expo and other things, we have several hundred, but it's probably 2,500 that are out there on the course divided between those aid stations. But between aid stations and course marshaling, it adds up quick.
Yeah. Yep. We had a question about running the tangents on your course in 30 words or so. How can people identify where the tangents are, how to line themselves up and minimize as much distance as they can?
So we do mark on the ground blue arrows where we have the turns, provided it's not, it's hard to see just because it's so crowded. So what I would do is just study the course a little bit, kind of know my streets, and then look ahead of me. When I see people are making a turn, I'm going to start moving to that side. Another easy way is on some of the wider open areas. Is look up ahead of you and look at the wires, the electrical wires. If I see the wires heading to the left or to the right, I know that's the way the road is going, so that's the way I'm going to go. And don't tell us later on that the course was long. The course is measured by the shortest distance.
Yeah.
But if you are going from side to side,
Yep.
or you're not taking those tangents, your GPS, your
You mean giving out high fives on both sides of the
you're
race
giving out
adds
high fives,
distance?
it's going to add some distance. While you want to do that and celebrate those kids out there, just remember you are going to sacrifice a little bit of distance.
As the director of the marathon, you don't get the opportunity to be out on the course a whole lot. But if you could be at 10 or 11 of the half marathon course, or 20, 22 on the full marathon course, where people, you mentioned the wall, where people tend to start to feel the effort they're putting into this, what would you tell them to keep them moving?
Yeah, I mean, I would really, if I were particularly at 11 in the half marathon, I would just know that, boy, when I get to that mile 12, when I get to Main Street, and it's going to be such a nice, steady decline down to Long and making that turn, that if I'm having a bad moment or I'm struggling a little bit, I know that all my work has come to bear to this moment, and I've got really one more mile, and then I have my celebratory mile. That last mile of the half marathon or in the marathon is your mile. When I would pace groups, I would dedicate miles for different reasons, particularly in the high miles. Mile 20 maybe was those people who doubted you. Mile 21 would be to some family or friends that have passed or whatever. But mile 13 or mile 12 and mile 25, that's your mile.
Yeah.
So know that no matter how bad you're feeling, get to that moment. And even if you have to walk it, because I've walked in before, that I know that I'm that close to my goal. And particularly on our course, mile 12 to 13.1 is the most forgiving for the half marathon. And for the marathon, again, get to 21, and then I've got that downhill at 22 and a little bit of just nice easy sections through 23 to 25. And at 25, you're right by just past the North Market. You're just at the corner of Goodale Park, and it is just a great section coming into downtown Columbus, down Nationwide Boulevard and High Street and Long. It's just all the buildings and the sound and the people. Take it all in and know that you've accomplished a huge goal that most people will never see the light of.
Yep. Well, you've made mention of it a couple times. The marathon's celebrating a heck of a milestone this year.
You know, it's 40 years, and when they started this race back in 1980, I don't know if they knew what they were getting into. It was designed to attract visitors to town. Many races during that same time frame, that was their goal. They saw New York had done that and some others, and hey, let's get people to come to town. And I think they had almost 4,000 people that first year. But what really is critical for us is we've had to put on a good event so people would come back. People say, oh, 40 years. You don't reach that without the support of tens of thousands of people,
Right.
of this community, and people from around the state in particular, but other states have made Columbus, continued to make it a great event. And we're very fortunate that all the people involved from 1980 and the volunteers that have been with us for that many years, and the people who were in charge of it, and police and fire and running groups and different people, they've continued to make this important on their running and walking calendar, and also just as a community event. The fact that we now partner with Children's Hospital, and we're already into our 8th year, and we're hopefully going to hit the 10 million mark this year in terms of support, is just an added benefit that made this so much more of a community event than just a bunch of crazy runners and walkers. And it's, knock on wood, we're going to continue to see this well after you and I are in the oldest age group.
Yeah. Well, Darris, thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time out, especially knowing that we're just 2 weeks away from race day. Folks, you've got 2 weeks. You've got this. You've put in all the work. You're ready to roll. We can't wait to see you at the finish line, and of course down at Celebration Village. Best of luck with your race, and have fun out there.
Good luck, everybody. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Darris.